Today's notes are on equations with distributive property. Equations with distributive property. I'm going to put my steps over in the upper right corner. Just as an order of operations, there's an order to these equations. Our first step is to take care of any distributive property. Do the distributive property, outside times the inside. Next is like terms, if we have any. If we have any like terms, combine them. Combine like terms. Then get rid of the constant by adding or subtracting. And the last is to get rid of the coefficient, the number next to the variable, by multiplying or dividing. I'm just going to box that in. And these are the steps that we follow. So here's my first problem, first example. There'll be 5 examples. Remember, distributive property, you take this number on the outside, whether it's positive or negative, sometimes it'll be negative, times each one inside, each term in here. So this is 2 times x, well that would be 2x, and then 2 times positive 4. 2 times positive 4 is positive 8. And that's the distributive property. And again, I'll keep my equals lined up. That'll equals 30. This is a simple 2-step. I'll first get rid of the constant. I'll subtract 8. Okay, that's gone. You have 2x. On the right side, 30 minus 8 is 22. You can probably see your answer right now, but I'll still do the last step. I'll divide by 2. And I get x equals 2 goes into 22 11 times. Now to check that, just take 11, put it in there for x. 11 plus 4 is 15, and 15 times 2 is 30. It does work out. Our solution is correct. Remember, our first step is to use distributive property, so that's going to be 4 times x. 4 times x is 4x. And then most people forget this. So that's a 4, positive 4, times negative 2. 4 times negative 2. 4 times 2 is 8, and there's 1 negative. That's negative 8. All that equals 12. I'm keeping my equals lined up. I'll get rid of this constant. I will add 8. So that's 0, and I have 4x. Keep my equals lined up. 12 and 8, that's 20. You can see your answer right now, but I'll just divide by 4 so it definitely stands out. That becomes 1x, or x. 4 goes into 20. 5 times. To check it, you just plug a 5 in there. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. See, the left side will equal the right side if you put a 5 for this x. We are correct. Third example. Okay, our first step is to distributive property. I'm going to take negative 3, not just 3, but negative 3. Negative 3 times x. That's negative 3x. Then I have negative 3 times this, negative 4. Negative 3 times negative 4. Well, 3 times 4 is 12. and two negatives cancel when multiplying. Equals negative 6. Again, keep the equals lined up. Okay, I'll do the opposite here. I'll subtract 12. Get rid of that constant. That's gone. The 12s are gone. Negative 6 and negative 12, they're the same sign. Remember, negatives only cancel when you're multiplying or dividing. So it's going to be negative 6 and 12 is 18. So to get the x by itself, this is times, negative 3 times x. So I will have to divide by negative 3. That's gone. You just have x. Keep the equals lined up. 3 goes into 18 6 times, and the two negatives cancel when dividing. Our answer is 6. And you can plug that in if you wish. That would give us 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. It works. The left side will equal the right side if I put a 6 in there for x. Okay, 2 more examples. I'm just going to make a new column. Okay, for the next example, we're going to go ahead and use all these steps: distributive property, like terms, add or subtract, multiply, divide. Okay, let's first do our distributive property. So this is a positive 2 times x. That's easy, that's 2x. The next one, we have positive 2 times negative 9. 2 times negative 9. Well, 2 times 9 is 18. And we have one negative when multiplying, so that just makes it negative. I'll bring the rest down. Keep my equals lined up. Okay, now it looks like I have some like terms in here. Okay, so I have a minus 18 and a plus 5. Let me just bring down the 2x, because there's no other x's. And then I have a minus 18 and a plus 5. So how much is minus 18 and plus 5? Negative 18 and plus 5. Since they're different signs, I'll subtract. 18 take away 5 is going to be 13. And there's more negative. So it's negative 13. 8 minus 5 is 13, and there's more negative. Line up your equals. Okay, now we have a two-step problem. We did distributive property. We did like terms. Now let's go ahead and I will add 13 to get rid of the constant. That's gone. You have 2x equals 13 and 1 makes 14. You probably see your answer right now. But I'll still do the last step. Divide by 2. X equals 2 goes into 14 7 times. And if I was to put this in here, the 7, and for x, we would see the left side would equal the right side. Okay, again, we're going to use all these steps: distributive property, like terms, add, subtract, multiply, divide. This last example. Okay, our first step is to use distributive property. So we have negative 3 on the outside times 4x. Negative 3 times 4. Well, 3 times 4 is 12. And there's one negative, so it's negative. Next, I have negative 3 times positive 2. Negative 3 times positive 2. 3 times 2 is 6. And there's one negative. bring the rest down. Again, keeping the equals lined up. Okay, do we have any like terms? It looks like I have a 12x and a positive 1x. Negative 12x and a positive 1x. See, that's a 1 right there. Invisible 1. You know why it's miserable? Because 1 is the loneliest number. Go ahead and sing the song if you know it. So I'll put the x's together. So I have negative 12 and plus 1. 12 minus 1, they're different signs, so I'll subtract. 12 minus 1 is 11, and I have more negative. Now I'll bring down the minus 6, because there's no other single constants to add it to, no other like terms. Keep the equals lined up. Oh, wait, that's 11x. Silly me. Okay, so what am I going to get rid of? The negative 11 or the negative 6 first? Or the minus 6? The minus 6. I will add 6 to both sides. Again, see, I'm going to keep my equals lined up here. Okay, on the left side, 6's are gone. I have a negative 11x. On the right side, 38 plus 6, let's see, that's going to be 44. Okay, you may be able to tell your answer right now, but still, I'm going to continue on with the last step. I'll divide by negative 11. And so the 11s are gone. You have x all by itself. That's what you wanted. And 11 goes into 44 4 times. Hey, there's one negative, so the answer is negative. Negative 4. And if you want to check that, take the negative 4, plug it in there for x, to see if the left side equals the right side.